Pre-calculus. I'm onto something. I think I solved the murder mystery, and it's one of my students. If you've come this far, you've read all of my notes, and now we're trying to figure out who the murderer is, and you're stuck. So if you're watching this, I'm going to help you do some of the math and solve and figure out who done it for a murder mystery. So let's look at this real quick. I'm going to go through the steps. Here's the actual project. Let's highlight the important things. The important things, when you came in, you took the temperature of the dead body. The first time you did, it was 84.5. You did that at 4:35 a.m. Next, it looks like you waited until 6 a.m. and took the temperature again. This time it was 74.9, so that's 2 data points. Very savvy of you. Good job. Next, the ambient temperature, the temperature of the room, is set at 73. Those are the key values. Those are the numbers we need to make this happen. Now let's make a graph. I know we don't like doing graphs sometimes, but it kind of gives us a picture about what's going on, and hopefully it'll make more sense to us. So here is time. Time's moving. And here is temperature. A living person has a temperature around 98.6, 98.6, 98.6 until they die. As soon as they die, their body starts to approach the temperature of the room itself, the ambient temperature we call it. Okay? We come along, this is when the person died, and a certain number of minutes passed until we finally got there, time t, that's how many minutes have passed before we got there, and took the body's temperature the first time and got 84.5. So we got 84.5. Next, we waited until 6 a.m. and took the temperature again. At 6 a.m., the temperature is 74.9. 74.9. If t represents how many minutes have passed since death, then this distance from here, this time from here to here, this was 85 minutes. If it's 4:35 a.m. when we first took the temperature, and then it was 6 a.m. when we took the next temperature, 85 minutes has passed. So when 85 minutes has passed, that's how much the temperature of the dead body has changed. Based on just those 2 pieces of information, we can find the K value. We have what the initial temperature is of the dead body when we first took its temperature. We have the final temperature of the body the second time we took it. We have how much time passed, T, and we have that ambient temperature that was given to us in the problem of 73. We have all of the unknowns except for one. What is it? K. The answer is K. We can find the K constant for this particular dead body, depending on bone density and fat and all the other things. It's different for every body, but for this one, by taking the temperature twice, we can find the K constant for this. The K constant during this little 85-minute interval is exactly the same as the K constant for this interval. So that's step 1. We can find K. Next, by backing it up now, we can say, well, we're assuming the person didn't have a fever and they had a temperature of 98.6 right when they died. Then we know after a certain number of minutes, we came along and we took the temperature and it was 84.5. Well, again, we have the initial temperature. We have the final temperature this time will be this one. We now know the K constant from this thing, from the backing up, it's the same curve, same K constant. We know the ambient temperature still is 73 degrees. What we don't know is T. So we could solve that equation for T. So there's 2 steps. The first step is taking this little chunk of information and knowing the 85 minutes, we can find the K value. Next, by knowing the K value and taking this little chunk, beginning temperature, ending temperature, and this K value, we can then figure out what T is, how long this is, how many minutes the dead body has been there. If we know how many minutes the dead body's been there from when we first took the temperature, we can just count backwards from that and figure out the time of death. Then it has to be one of those students. One of those students has an alibi that doesn't quite work out. We need to figure out who has done it. Okay? If you have any other questions, you guys feel free to email me. Otherwise, good luck finding the killer.